is waking. It hurts when you lie all the time. Can't feel anymore. Feels numb when I try. Restart me again and again. Your love, the ghost of me. Been waiting for the light. Won't say goodbye. Won't close my eyes and die.
Boom!
Hey, everybody!
We have
How's
special
everyone
guest
doing?
stars.
The Whiteling.
Special guest stars. Kieran and Hades. We almost had a star until Hades decided he wanted to lay there. All right, share it out. Share it out via Messenger. If you're on YouTube, hopefully you're able to figure it out. It was a little bit wonky for me on mobile, but I did finally switch it back and forth to the point that I was able to get it shared out. Share it to Facebook, share it to wherever. It's a little bit hard to share to TikTok. Threads,
And Insta. It's hard to
Insta.
share to Insta too.
Yep. Yes, cat-shaped puddles of black. These are my boys. Until this one sometimes acts like a girl. So there. Hard to believe though that 2 years ago this one hid. You could never find him, could never interact with him. If he caught you looking at him, as soon as you made eye contact, he was gone. And now I can get some pets. Welcome. November 29th, 2025. Season 2, episode 48.
I know.
Holy crap, Ola. Yeah.
That's
Obviously, we have had 2 of those preempted. It is week 48 of 2025, and we've only done 46 shows, but we still call it episode 48. We're just
because we're in week 48, right?
Yep. Exactamundo. Now, next year we may have to look at doing prompts a little bit differently, just for the sheer fact that you guys have exploded and given us so much, and we do not, under any circumstances, want anybody to miss their turn. On top of that, we do know that other prompt shows will read them ahead of time and decide which ones to read out. However, that's not our brand. Our brand is literally so that you get live reactions, live what the fucks, holy shits. I do this all cold read, as do our secondary readers who help out on occasion. So we definitely are going to look at, and we're going to bounce some ideas around and put them in. You, as our prompters, get to have a voice in this, just like you have a voice in it every single fucking week on what we're going to write the next week. You're also going to get to put your 2 cents in on how you want to make it fair, continue to make it. So we'll get that out here shortly. Tonight is the last night of Harvest the Words. I know that the channel over in the Discord did not get any love. That's a me fault. But y'all were just harvesting the words, and you proved it. We were looking at what was the number, Julie? We had this week alone, we have an estimated, because we've got a couple that still need to finish up. There were some technical difficulties. We're looking at 24,500 words that are going to be read out between tonight and tomorrow. And that brings our monthly total to over
1,873 words. We broke 100,000 words this month.
Yep. So crazy, holy crap. You guys all should be proud of yourself. We didn't even have to encourage you to harvest the words. You were doing it your goddamn selves. So, that's fantastic. Also, if you're in the Discord, make sure you head over to the new channel, Tracking with Track Bear, and check out some of that information. We now have over on our leaderboard, back to the leaderboard, we have 5 people signed up to join our secondary 2026 challenge to write 1 million words. And I don't believe we've gotten any feedback from y'all on those newsletters. You can also put it in the Discord channel for Trek Bear. Do you think we should stay at 1 million for words written as a collective group, not read out on the show, but written as a collective group? Or do you think we should go higher? Right? Because some of us alone in 2025, after polling some friends who are thinking about joining, they did 500,000 on their own in 2025. So feedback from our prompters is greatly appreciated. And if it seems like I'm doing a lot of talking at the beginning of this episode, that would be because our fearless leader is still under the weather, and we must protect the voice at all costs.
Yes, very much so. No, I'm going to be talking, but it's going to be very, very minimum tonight. And I'm waiting on coffee to be finished. So I have something hot on my throat and hopefully can get it to bring back. But yeah, as usual, we got Izzy, doing the announcements and doing the thing. This is a collective effort for all of us. This is a collective effort for this might have been my brainchild 2 years ago, but without y'all and Izzy and Kesh and Patrick and
Shar.
and
Shar's still
Shar,
taking some time off, but without her help, we would not be on Twitch right now.
no, not at all. And we missed her completely, and we hope that she is doing well and she comes back when she is ready, and her spot is always open. I mean, that's just the way that rolls. We're never a goodbye, we're a see you later.
Yep.
Or see you next week, as you guys hear at the end of the show.
Yep.
But
and that also means, real quick aside, if you can't make it to a show, no apologies necessary. If you can't get a submission in, no apologies necessary. The most important thing, we have a whole channel, self-care triumphs, right? You must take care of you. You must put your oxygen mask on first before you can do anything to help anybody else. So self-care is very important, and we're always going to be here for you.
What does he say? Which is what I was going to say. It was just like, and what does he say? She beats me to the punchline.
Trying to save your voice.
Thank you. But there was one other thing we needed to discuss tonight, and I can't remember what it was.
December? No, because we're doing that right before Roll the Prompts.
Right. It's fine. It'll come to me eventually, and if it does come to me, I'll write it down and we'll say it at the end. But without further ado,
I was going to say, Julie, are you having a senior moment?
Yeah, we're having.
I remember the last thing that I wanted to cover, and Bitzer, aka Internutter, aka CM Weller, has put it in the chat. Our voices and our words are not to be used to train AI. This belongs to us, the authors of Hold My Pen Promptcast, the prompters. All words read out belong to the author as written below our beautiful pictures here. Okay? So do not steal from somebody else. Come up with your own frickin' stories.
And then submit it because we would be happy to fucking hear it. But please don't be a thief.
Absolutely. Please don't be a thief.
Okay, coming from somebody who's been pirated more times than they care to fucking count, and I think we've actually lost count of how many times
Yeah.
that I've been pirated. Please don't do that. It hurts the author. It doesn't hurt anyone else. It hurts the fucking author because somebody
Really
else
does.
is making money off of our work, our blood, our sweat, our tears. Our why the fuck did you do that? And it's not fair. It's not in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It's not fucking fair. So please come up with your own. Now, if you want to do a fanfic of any of ours, no, we're open to that.
Oh, for
Actually,
sure. I love
it's a
fanfic.
form of freaking flattery at this point. You want to
I
do a
love me a
fanfic
good
of
fanfic.
it, by all means. But do realize that you're putting your own spin on what we did, not stealing directly from us. There's a difference between fanfics and piracy. Be the latter. But anywho, yeah, I think that was the only thing I had to do. See, Bitzer.
Right? Exactly.
Okay, I think that was the only thing I had to do. If I think of anything
Yep.
else, I'll write it down.
Yep. Okay. So now, without further ado, our first submission for the evening, because like I said, we've got estimated 24,500 words to read out between tonight and tomorrow night. And Bitzer has a bit of an ankle issue that needs to be iced on the regular. So since Bitzer's up next, we're going to read theirs first because they're up first and we got to get it done in time for them to go handle the ankle. So we're off to the races. Oh, the first word does not make me happy, but that's okay. Aaron had never forgotten those awkward early years courting Zin. He'd come to her classes late, so late that it was early for the end of them, and watch her from his seat at the back of the class. The summer she turned 7, he courted her in earnest, gifting her with ribbons and candy and little trinkets that glittered and inspired her smile. The summer she turned 9, he taught her how to swim, building up her confidence in the swimming hole only he knew about, so that nobody would laugh at her skinny body. She went from trembling and clinging to him like a baby squirrel to ducking, diving, and splashing about like a little mermaid. Every glimpse of that skinny ass was like an open invitation. He taught her so much that summer. He'd made her a woman, his woman, before the leaves turned, their special secret. At least until she told her blabbermouth friend and spread the rumor that she was pregnant, and then her mother forced him to marry her. It was that or the rusty plant shears. He'd resented it ever since, even though he could take his pleasure out of her day and night. That had made it better until the bitch got pregnant for real. He'd almost missed it, thinking she was getting fat, until she started talking about baby names. He could not stand to support another mouth to feed. Keeping her in line was trouble enough for him. Aaron's hand hurt, rousing him from dreams and memories meshed together. His house was silent and empty. There wasn't even a proper fire laid. He moved to get up out of bed and screamed at the agony searing up his arm. Other memories flooded his head. The thing from the rainstorm and his attempt to show it its place. How Zin tied his arm to a board with her yarn, and she'd fed him her devil tea, the stuff she always drank when she was bleeding. She could walk around and do stuff after drinking a whole pot, getting on his nerves and pestering him about things. Took him just one cup to be flat on his ass, fast asleep. He didn't know what day it was, how long he'd been out, or worse, where the hell Zin was. There was no sign of her, no sight of her, no sound of her. On the good sign of things, there was no clue where the big metal menace was either. Zin! He bellowed. Where you at? No answer. He pushed himself up with his other hand, groaning at the pain up his busted arm. He had to cradle it by the board just to stand on his feet. Zin had to be some kind of witch to drink a whole pot of that stuff and stay awake and annoying. He shambled to the door, left ajar enough for him to squirm outside and get to the privy. She wasn't talking to the horse. She wasn't trying to do any of the farm chores he'd left done enough. She wasn't anywhere inside the fence. Had she? Had she run off? She should have been scared to death of leaving the farm after all the stories he'd told her. Dire tales of horrible things that happened to little ladies out on their own without protection. She shouldn't have gone anywhere without... Ah, shit. The thing. The thing she brought in from the rain. The thing that busted up his arm and threatened to drive nails right through his hand. Of course that stupid little bitch must have thought the thing would protect her. Well, she deserved everything she got then, especially after she dragged herself crawling back to his door. He'd make her beg to take her back in, Aaron decided, and then make her beg him to stop what he was doing after that. But that didn't answer the question of where she went, or how he was meant to cope with a busted arm. How was he going to eat? Who was going to make his food? He couldn't even stand to walk far enough to reach the town's inn for a halfway decent meal and a very good beer, or three. A cloud of dust caught his attention. It was coming from the road to his farm. Was that singing? More than 100 voices, all singing, many hands together, marching like an army up the road. He could see carts and horses, tools on shoulders, and the giant bronze thing in his nightshirt at the front, next to Seljack's horse, with a shovel over its shoulder, and sitting next to Seljack, wearing his hat like a bonnet, was the little bitch herself, singing along with all the others. How the fuck had she managed to convince half the town along? He didn't get an answer. He got whisked inside to sit down by a couple of old bats clucking about how he looked too pale. They fed him more of the devil tea, only a little bit because the remains of Zin's pot had been steeping all night. It was worse cold, and they held him down and made him swallow it regardless. There was the apothecary, smelling the pot and nodding. There was Zin, helping wrap his busted arm in some kind of frame and balancing his hand into the other one. There was someone cooking at the hearth. There was Zin's busybody friend, looming over him as most of the crowd went outside again, and Zin went clucking after them. Petunia. That loud-mouthed bitch that ruined everything. Running off and talking about the things Zin told her. Trying to get him hanged, but getting him married instead. You think you had it all figured out from the get-go, don't you? Sneered Petunia, her arms folded. You're about to be very wrong about it all. And if'n you don't trust me, trust the town knows what you've been up to. And trust me. She leaned close to murmur, this babe of hers is going to be born alive or I'm flaying your dick off with fresh nettles. Shit! That bitch had grown even more of a spine since the last time they'd seen each other. By all accounts, she was fast with a clog and had vicious aim with it, too. With the right wind, she could ding someone on the head and have it bounce straight back into her hand. He did believe her, but he couldn't say anything because Zin's witch's brew stole his ability to talk. He could only utter a slurred tangle of syllables and sway in the seat. Zin was by his side again, on the arm that wasn't busted up. Come on, Aaron. You need sleep to heal up. Don't you worry none. That there's all folks helping now. It's gonna be good. She urged him into bed and tucked him in once more. You rest up now, Aaron. It'll get better soon. He let her fuss, thinking of ways he could get her to fuss more. Maybe there was more than one way to make her regret taking in that thing from the storm. As he closed his eyes, he heard Zin talking to that bitch Petunia. You reckon it's possible to be in love with a person and be terrified of them too? As the light, the noise, and the pain faded away from him, he swore he heard that bitch Petunia say, "Unfortunately so." Dun dun dun.
I think Bitzer's in the middle of an ad right now, but oh my God. Uh,
Holy shitballs. I am so sorry, Bitzer. That Yes! Get him! Fucking get him!
I like Petunia.
Fuck.
I
I like
agree.
I like Petunia a lot. I want more Petunia.
I mean,
Holy fuck. Holy fuck.
but I look at this like we all have that one aunt that we're told is crazy as fuck that you don't tell shit to. And then I've realized as I grew up, I became that aunt that you don't tell shit to unless you want the action that comes behind it. And that's Petunia.
Yes.
So I don't care what the fuck Petunia does. I got a goddamn alibi.
Mm-hmm.
She was 100 miles away.
Yep. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I saw the trigger warning and I chose not to say it because I wanted to make sure that everybody was right and uncomfortable and knew what the fuck. Right? Now, I trust, Bitzer's been around here for a while, has joined the Discord, and we know how they feel about certain things. Right? So I trusted Z knew what they were doing. Okay? And very well done. Very well done. I'm raising the coffee and the doctor drink to you. Very well done. That'll warm my belly in one way. That'll warm the belly in the other way. Holy hell. Fuck yeah, I knew Aaron was going to get it. I knew he was going to get it. I knew he was going to get it. I just needed to know how he was going to get it. All right. And next up, where are you on the screen? God bless America. Actually, goddamn America, but any hoozle. One Trisha Jones. You think you've got everything figured out, but you don't, she said, crossing her arms. Trust me on that. How do you know the stories are not real? He said. I have to know if they are true. You think mermaids are real, let alone let you get close enough to collect tears from them? She scoffed. You are crazy. How do you plan on getting the tears anyway? I will figure it out when I get there. You are not going to be able to do it without losing your life. He sighed. Everything will be fine. She just shook her head at him. You can believe what you want, but I am going to the cove, Sue, he said, putting his backpack on and went to the window. Jack, you are going to get in so much trouble, Sue yelled after him. Jack didn't care the trouble he would get in. If the mermaids were real, he would be famous for collecting the tears of the mermaids. He would live forever after he'd drunk those tears. Those thoughts made him pedal his bike faster. It wasn't long before he made it to the cove where the mermaids were told to be at. Jack got as close as he could without leaving the tall grass at the edge of the sand. He sat and waited. The stories said they only come out at the full moon when it was high in the sky. The wait was more boring than he thought it would be. He nearly fell asleep when he heard splashing. He started looking towards the sound where it came from. After a while, he thought he had been hearing things. When he heard someone singing. He moved closer to the singing. He hid behind a large boulder. He peeked around the boulder and saw a beautiful woman was sitting in the shallow water singing a very beautiful song. He was so mesmerized by her, he did not notice that something had come up behind him. It grabbed him, covering his mouth with a cold, wet, webbed hand. Jack fought as hard as he could, but the creature was stronger. It took him closer to the one singing. Sister, it looks like your singing has brought another one looking for something from us. The one that was singing turned to face Jack and the other creature. Jack's eyes got huge in shock. The one that was singing was pale blue with dagger-like teeth. Oh, I wonder, is it our scales? Our songs? Oh, wait, it must be our tears. The one who was singing moved closer to Jack. Too bad we will never find out. The next day, the whole town went searching for Jack after Sue finally told her parents where her brother went. When they got to the cove, all they found was his bike in the grass and his torn backpack on the sand near the water. Sue sat next to his bike and cried. I told him not to go.
Trisha, that was well written.
Emotional damage.
Oh my God. Yes.
That was like a siren, not just mermaids. I love it.
Fuck yeah. I mean, when we think mermaids have all now been the beautiful, Little Mermaid, Ariel, daughter of Triton, and it's just like everybody wants to be a mermaid. Until, I'm sorry, the original tales are of bloodthirsty women who are luring sailors to their deaths. Beautiful.
Yes.
Fucking beautiful.
Had to do Grimm's fairy tale with it. Yes, you did. That was fantastic.
Fuck yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Sure. Ha 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 ha. Yes. We be starting out strong with fucking violence tonight. Fuck yeah. Not that we condone violence of any kind. We are authors and we put it in our books because it's not reality. It is just,
It's internal venting.
Yes, internal venting. Abso-freaking-lutely. All right. Next up, we have one of our newest prompters, aka Death's Head, aka Wilhelm F. Ruffy. I love saying that name. I don't. Wilhelm.
You got to put a. You got to hit that V a little bit harder. That V sound. Wilhelm.
Eh. Look, my kid's name is William. I may be partial and biased. I'm just saying.
Hmm.
All right, make sure that I grab the right one and not my kid in the list of names across the bottom. There he is. There we go. I also might also be partial because I got a great grand something that's Frederick or Ferdinand. I can never remember. All right. We are transitioned into the okay. Where we go from here? The edges of Robert's vision blurred as the spider monster took a shuffling step towards him, its eyes flashing red. His mind turned to the 38 special in his glove compartment and what a couple lead slugs might do to this beast. Time slowed as he heard a rifle retort, the trenches near the Argonne forest forming around him once more. Bullets whizzed overhead as he saw not the spider monster, but a dirt-stained stormtrooper glaring at him with eyes hardened by 4 years in the trenches. Robert hadn't had a gun then either, but he had had a shovel to clash with the Hun's nail-spiked club. A scrape of the spider's fingers brought him back to the basement, where he had no shovel. But he felt the lighter in his pocket and cast his gaze upon the desiccated bodies of her previous victims. Sorry about this, Robert thought, ripping off one's head and setting his dried carcass alight. The stench of burning flesh filled the air as he threw his makeshift missile at the monster, forcing it to dodge out of the way. With that moment to breathe, Robert tore up the jacket of the body, whipping it around a thigh bone and lighting the fabric. He brandished his macabre torch, the spider creature hissing as it drew back into the shadows. Then it leaped onto the ceiling, sinking its dagger-like fingers into the timber. Heart thundering in his ears, Robert stepped back over the pile of corpses and into a tangle of cobwebs, kicking them away as the spider creature crawled across the ceiling towards him. The moment it was over the pile of corpses, he threw his torch, setting the powdery bodies alight and sending a column of flame roaring to the rafters. It shrieked, half leaping, half falling to the floor as smoke wafted from its carapace. The nauseating stench of burnt flesh made Robert gag, his head spinning as he pulled off his own jacket and wrapped it around his arm, pushing deeper into the cobwebs. An ear-splitting cry echoed through the air, the spider monster rushing towards him on scraping claws. He had only an eye blink to find another victim amongst the webs and wrench free a second bone club before the monster was upon him. Robert held out his jacket-wrapped arm as a shield, catching several dagger fingers in the cloth as he swung the club with all the ferocity and terror he'd swung that shovel back in the Argonne. He knocked it back, though cold pain lashed through his covered arm, the pierced cloth turning red in splotches. Another roar echoed through the air, a wave of heat and smoke washing over him as the fire from the pile of bodies had set the ceiling overhead alight. Flames spread down the beams and across the plaster like rivulets, tongues flaring out and catching everything alight. The spider monster hissed, looking at the spreading fire. Then Robert, its hell maw opening. I had so hoped for another meal. Alas, enjoy burning. And then it was gone, darting away across the floor to vanish amongst the cobwebs. A squeak and a clang told Robert that it had scuttled into some hidey hole, but he doubted that there was any chance of escaping that way. Though as the basement choked with smoke, the air heating to an oven, there was a pang of doubt in him that he'd chosen the more painful demise. No, you're going to escape, Robert commanded himself, clutching his left arm close to himself as he leaned down and slashed away the webs with the bone. The webs fell away to reveal angular, arcane symbols carved into the stones, though Robert had no hope of guessing their meaning. He also revealed 4 more bodies, a dried out man and woman screaming forever as they held their skeletal arms before their faces. The other 2, though, were pig corpses, and near the second pig body, Robert found a metal chute like a hotel might have for a laundry. Or a cult would drop swine down when no people are available to feed their horrible spider monster. With his left arm numb and dripping blood, the metal already heating from the fire, it seemed likely that he would get stuck inside and be cooked like an oven roasted ham. To think I worried that Sarah chick was overpaying me. Gritting his teeth, Robert shoved himself up inside the metal tube, wedging himself against the side and crawling up the slowly heating metal, smoke swirling in below him. He coughed and sputtered and felt like he was melting alive. He squirmed like a worm, his good hand and cheek burning on the metal as he wriggled higher and higher, one slip away from falling into a choking inferno. Without warning, he banged his head into something hard, the shock sending him sliding down 3 perilous feet. Robert tried to scream as he slammed himself sideways, though the noise came out of his throat like a pathetic whimper followed by a hacking cough. Still, he knew the end was near, one way or another. Robert pushed upwards, reclaiming those 3 feet and searching with his hand through the darkness. He found the hatch, his heart stopping as he realized that if it was locked, this was the end of his life. A burst of flame rose up the shaft beneath, or rising up the shaft beneath was all it took for Robert to push open the chute's hatch and crawl through, falling painfully onto the floor of a kitchen. He coughed and sputtered, for smoke was filling the rest of the building, the sound of sirens echoing outside. Not wanting to be caught in whatever unfolded with the firemen arrived, Robert crawled to the window and smashed it open with a toaster on the counter. Then he was out, jumping down into the grass between the Masonic Hall and an unassuming fence. Indeed, it was a shock to enter the mundane world again, Robert's mind trying and failing to imagine his experience as something which fit in the normal world. No, I really did see a spider monster, he muttered, staggering around the hall to the sidewalk. A couple gawking at the fire cried out upon seeing him, Robert waving them away with his good hand, muttering, "I'm all right." "Geez, mister, you want help to the hospital?" the man asked. "I said I'll be all right," Robert croaked, his voice cutting out as he staggered. "You really should," the woman said hesitantly, offering her hand. "Sorry, I've business to attend to," Robert said, waving her off as he staggered across the street to his parked Model T. He heaved himself inside, taking a deep breath and letting it out through his teeth. Behind him, the couple were walking towards a stopped fire truck, waving down the men spilling out, no doubt to get me help. Robert, though, knew that he did not want to speak with the police at the moment, who were sure to arrive, as they wouldn't believe his claims about a spider-human hybrid, and he was in no fit state to make up a lie. And they might be on the cult's payroll, he thought, reflecting upon Sarah's words. He turned on the engine, being careful not to flood it, before pulling out onto the road and speeding away to lose himself amongst the quiet lanes of the town. Edgar Simmons was a friend to Robert in the way that a girl you dated for 3 weeks in high school and sometimes borrow cash from is a wife. They'd spoken 3 times since the war, and one of those had been a conversation in a bar of less than 100 words before Robert had staggered off into the night to catch a cab. He was also the closest thing Robert had in the whole county to an emergency contact, and so he drove up the old Redwood Highway all the way to Healdsburg, where the man lived. It was a long, taxing drive under ordinary circumstances, with pain spreading up his arm, blood dripping from his arm, and a dark conspiracy all around left Robert on the edge of losing it. Time stretched on as he drove through the farmlands, several times seeing cars and trucks following him with suspicious men behind the wheel. One even had a passenger snapping pictures for no apparent reason. All eventually peeled off the road, leaving him to pull into the driveway of Edgar's little farmhouse, seemingly unmolested. By then, the world was spinning. Robert's arm felt like it was falling off, and he was half convinced he was going to die. Still, he seized the gun from his glove compartment and shoved it into his pocket before staggering drunkenly from the car. He stumbled between the orchard trees to the door in search of a safe harbor. Edgar wasn't a man to turn someone away. He rapped on the door, chills shaking him even under the glare of the hot, late afternoon sun. It opened to reveal a brown-haired woman in an apron, her eyes going wide as she looked at him. "Oh, I must look bad." "Oh my God, what's happened to you?" she gasped. "Need to see Edgar," Robert mumbled, slumping against the doorframe. With a helpless shake of her head, the woman seized hold of Robert and half dragged, half carried him through the sparsely furnished living room to a spare bedroom. The moment he dropped onto the bed, the world became a blur, the woman's voice and that of a child flowing together as his head spun. At some point, darkness settled over him, Robert retreating from the waking world. Voices echoed through dark halls, something poking at his left arm as he walked gloomy tunnels, never certain which way to go. A piercing light finally drew him from the maze and into the waking world. Robert grunted, feeling a thrill of pain run up and down his left arm as he blinked in the bright light. A shadow loomed over him, cold panic washing over him as he imagined the spider monster returning to finish the job. Instead, Edgar appeared from the sunbeam, wiry black hair, a messy mustache, and dusty overalls, a scar on his cheek where a Hun bullet had kissed him. "Jesus H, Robert, what are you wound up in?" Edgar asked. "I don't know where to begin," Robert replied, wincing as he sat upright in bed. He touched his left arm, finding it wrapped in bandages. "Start with how you got stabbed," Edgar said. "The missus had to put 20 stitches into you with her sewing needle, and if you hadn't insisted on not calling a doctor, well..." Robert blinked, having no memory of calling off a doctor. He rubbed his forehead, thinking over the basement, the monster, Nathan, and Sarah. "I'm in deep with something, and I haven't gotten far." "Don't tell me you pissed off some bootleggers," Edgar said. The words, "I wish," formed on Robert's tongue, but he bit them back, seeing instead a way out. "I think so. They kidnapped this Sarah's brother, at least that's my working theory." "Damnation, Robert." Edgar shook his head, pacing around the room. "We should phone up the sheriff right now. Have him take care of these gangsters." "No, he may be on the take." "Ain't no way. Our sheriff isn't like those big city police you deal with. He can't be bought off like that." "Look, the thing is, I don't have anything for him," Robert said. "The one who did this to me is gone. I can't bring him to the scene of the crime, and there's no evidence, no other evidence. Lawmen have to go on evidence, and I have none." "You telling me you couldn't find the guy who stabbed you in a lineup?" "Not a chance," Robert replied, shaking his head. "Aw, hell." Edgar rubbed his head, walking to the window. "What are we supposed to do now?" "I need to call Sarah," Robert replied, wincing as he stepped onto the floor. "You have a phone?" Yeah, I talked to her earlier. You did? Robert said. How? Well, you kept muttering her name and you had that card with her number. So I phoned up the operator and we talked for a piece. She seemed worried about you, promised to come north as soon as she was able. Did you give her your address? Robert asked, tensing as he checked for his 38. She didn't ask for it. He fished a greasy scrap of paper from his pocket. She told me you ought to call her at this number once you woke up. Robert nodded, taking the paper and looking over it. Mind if I borrow yours? It's by the door, Edgar said, waving his hand. Thank you. And remind me to buy you a beer. I won't forget it. With that, Robert stepped out, making his way down the hall and through the living room to the phone niche. He lifted it from the hook, tapping his foot as he looked over the number. As soon as he had the switchboard, he told the number, twice, as his tongue tripped over itself the first time in his haste. After 10 agonizing rings, Sarah answered, her voice echoing as though from a great distance. I heard about the lodge fire. Sounds like you ran into some trouble. Some trouble, Robert repeated, feeling a spike of anger. You almost got me killed, you stupid broad. Hey now, I'm not the one who walked into a Masonic hall without a plan or a weapon. Robert took a deep breath. Look, this is a courtesy call. I'm done. Finished. We had a deal, you and I, in writing. I don't give a rat's ass. I signed up to find your hobo brother, not hunt monsters. I see. Sarah sighed. Meet me on the bridge over the Russian River in half an hour. I have a proposition for you. I said, Robert managed to get out before the line went dead. He growled, slamming down the phone. God damn it all. Did it not go well? Edgar asked. You might say that. Robert looked out the window at the road, his left hand twitching. I need to take a walk. Be back around supper time. Be careful out there, Edgar said. Robert nodded, opening the door with his good hand and marching down the drive. He was halfway to the road before he realized he was going to meet with Sarah. Pain shot through his arm as he tried to tell himself that no matter what she said, he was going to tell her off and flee with his life. He'd had too many brushes with death to do otherwise. The wash of the river echoed through the air as Robert stepped onto the arched bridge. As promised, Sarah stood upon it in the same dress she'd worn in San Fran. She leaned against the railing, looking down the watercourse as the wind fluttered her hair. She brushed back a lock, never looking at Robert, though when he neared to within 6 paces of her, she began to speak. I should have given you a clearer warning about what you were likely to face. That was a mistake on my part. I was attacked by a human spider that just about ruined my arm, Robert said, stopping in place. And you knew, didn't you? You know about all of this supernatural nonsense. If I knew everything, I wouldn't have to hire a detective, now would I? She shot him a sideways glance, a smirk curling her lips. And given your record, I thought you a good match for what I need. Well, I'm done with you and your cult. Your brother is either dead in that basement or somewhere else. Oh? She turned to face him. Go on. Tell me. How do you know that? I saw the dried bodies. Saw the monster they throw them to. Robert retorted. I was tossed to it, too. And I know from the way you're talking you knew all of this and sent me to the wolves anyway. Well, your brother is dead and I want that other $30 you promised me. You think you've got everything figured out, but you don't, Sarah said, crossing her arms. Trust me on that. I'll trust you as far as I can throw you. He took a step closer. Don't tempt me to put that to the test. I can see that you're not in a state to reason with, Sarah sighed, leaning on the bridge railing. Perhaps we can continue this conversation when you've had a chance to cool off. Give me my money, Robert hissed, taking a step towards her as he put a hand to his concealed pistol. The case is closed. Sarah rolled her eyes. Then she flipped backwards over the railing, falling into the river with a splash. Robert rushed to the spot, looking down to see her dress floating down the water. There was a ripple in the surface. The world seemed to shudder around the edges as Robert watched Sarah appear once more. Her pale skin was now steel gray scales. Her bobbed hair had become a tangle of membranous crests, and her legs had fused into a fishtail with twin fins fanning from the tip. She stared up at Robert, lifting a webbed hand and pointing at him. We have a contract, Mr. Astor, and I expect results. Once you've calmed down, I'll be in touch. She swished her tail, launching herself under the shadow of the bridge. Robert spun around and staggered across the roadway to follow, only for squealing brakes and a honking horn to send him jumping back. A truck careened past the spot where he would have stood, the mustachioed old driver leering at him before vanishing around the curve. Robert forced himself to stand still, take a deep breath, and check both ways before crossing the road. He was unsurprised to reach the other side and see nothing in the river below. I was hired by a damn mermaid, he muttered, rubbing his temples as he felt a headache coming on. Another car drove by, Robert turning away. With nothing else for it, he walked back towards Edgar's home. As he moved, he muttered to himself, to the landscape, perhaps to the pagan gods who dwelled in the trees. To hell with the mermaid and her brother. I'm gone. If I was not clear, dun dun dun. Holy fucking hell!
That ending. I also love how he plays with history. That is absolutely
Emotional
fantastic. How he's
damage.
I
like
loved it.
using it as the background.
Holy.
I don't know why I forgot about the spider monster from last week. I don't know how I forgot about that fucking spider monster.
Oh, hell. Oh, hell. That was a fucking twist from motherfucking. Oh, damn.
People are having more fun with my mermaid thing than they've had with all the others. I'm enjoying this.
I, 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 I can't even. I can't. I mean, rough draft, a little bit of grammar, whatnot, but like, good golly, Miss Molly, like the characters each have their own unique personality on the page. It's not just my voice giving them different inflections. It's literally how Wilhelm, verbalizes from each of the characters, the way they speak, the words they choose to use. Holy fuck. I'm done. I quit. I'm done writing. I'm just gonna read everybody's shit. That No, I'm not serious. I'm still gonna write, but I feel very inadequate in this very moment. I'm not. I know. Just chill, chill, chill
We'll let you have your imposter syndrome for a short time.
for just a minute.
Just a minute.
Just a wee
Get it
bit.
out of your system.
Uh huh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
This,
that's fantastic.
yes, this was very much, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. You can has imposter syndrome as a treat. Okay. Oh my God. Julie, Julie, when Glee challenged you to write outside your comfort zone, did you ever think in a million fucking years that we would be exposed to this many different amazing fucking stories and talented writers?
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. My voice is getting worse, so you just gotta bear with me here. My hope, my whole plan behind the show was for this. This was to bring in people, to bring a community together, that it's not a popularity fucking contest out here. There is a reader for every fucking writer. And there is so many stories that get overlooked because they aren't within the popular crowd. Well, guess what? We ain't the fucking popular crowd. We're the fucking misfits, and we're damn fucking proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, did I think this was going to fucking happen? I hoped. I prayed. But the fact that it's actually fucking happening, like real time happening,
Mm-hmm.
still blows my fucking mind every week. Every week we improve. Every week we get a different perspective, a different person that just shocks and fucking awes us. I am so glad that this person came to us. And of course, we have to thank Bitzer because Bitzer was the one that brought this person to us. So without our Australian, we wouldn't have him right now. But then again, without, I think it's Moth, without Moth, we wouldn't have had Bitzer because we got raided. A lot of these people, we wouldn't have them if we hadn't been raided right off the damn bat. And we're building our community, we're building our freaking people. And I cannot say enough about the wonderful fucking people that tune in every damn week. Whether you're a reader, whether you're a writer, whether you're just here for the fucking shenanigans. You know, just here to cheer us on and give your feedback and be like, hey, I got nothing going on a Saturday night. Let's just roll with it. We're here to lift each other up, not tear each other fucking down. Now, mind you, we will give criticism, but it's constructive. I'm so sorry, Bubba. I'm literally sitting at 35 degrees and my feet are like wrapped inside of my pants because I can't find my fuzzy socks. By the way, if anybody wants to buy me anything for Christmas, I am not going to say no to fuzzy socks. I am super easy to buy for. Hoodies and fuzzy socks. Because right now my feet are freezing and I'm sick. So my feet are cold. We're all fucking screwed. Because that means I can't get warm. And right now I'm waiting for the dryer to stop because my blanket's in the dryer. So, no, I am. The fact that this was 2 years ago, we're coming up on 2 fucking years of a very good friend of mine saying, because I was stuck. I literally was stuck on this fucking story. And I could not figure it out. How do I feel about Uggs? I've never had a pair of Uggs. Never had a pair of Uggs. I'm a Southern girl. Quite literally, I'm usually running around in boots, but I've tore holes in my damn boots. And right now, it's hard enough to keep shoes on my husband and my kids' feet than to keep them on mine. So that's just something I deal with. But anybody wants to know, I'm a 9.5 wide. The wide part is very important.
Very important. Okay, I had to take a quick restroom break,
Well,
and
I
get.
great time because I think this is about as far as I get with it. But no,
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
super proud. When you see something and you're hoping in the back of your mind that it'll expand, it'll do its job, that you know, it's like that fucking scene from God, what is the fucking movie? If you build it, they will come. Field of Dreams. Uh if you build it, they will come. Well, guess what? We built the fucking thing. We staggered there for a minute, but now here we
Like,
are.
we built it, and you came.
Yes.
You all came. That's
And continue to come in every week to shock, awe, even if it's just to freak Izzy out. I mean, even if that is our only goal for the freaking week is to make Izzy laugh, cry, or piss herself. That's what we do.
and I think the point of it is, right, here in America, we just had Thanksgiving, and although Thanksgiving is has been warped into this feel good thing when it was actually genocide, um, we have used it and turned it into a friendsgiving, or an actual, you know we are thankful for what we've got and everything, and that was just 2 days ago. So we are freaking thankful for all of you who have believed in this dream and come along on the ride with us. So all right, before we all start crying.
Please don't, because I ain't got much of a voice left to start crying with.
Well, I feel that. Okay, so next up,
Uh,
SP Stavros, just in time, back from the in-laws.
I think it starts on page 8.
8. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. It says also start at the comment that says November 29. Start here is also highlighted on the document. Okay, great. Scroll, 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 scroll. We got this. We got this.
Well,
There it is. All right. Ready, Freddy's. Let me get another bite here. Right, Trisha? Trisha wrote, I enjoy this every week. It helps me work on my writing skills. And that's the thing. As the person who is reading it out loud and looking at the words on the screen, if there's spelling mistakes, nobody sees them. Nobody sees them but me. And I have watched as grammar and spelling has gotten better and better for so many people through this, and developing different character voices as we're going through. It's an exercise in getting better. In order to get good at baseball, you have to keep practicing and keep doing the thing. Eventually, you get better at it. To be good at football, to get better at practicing piano, playing guitar, um, sketching, watercolor, you have to keep doing it. And at the base core, what we do every week is go, okay, here's your assignment. Should you choose to accept it? I mean, we're not Ethan, but this isn't Mission Impossible. This is Mission Possible, right? And yeah, I've seen it. I've noticed it in the way that you all write. The prompters who have been with us for a very, very long time, I've watched as the grammar gets better, the spelling gets better, and I could not be more proud of all of you. These are turning into not completely rough drafts. They're like revision 1, revision 2. You guys are looking over and critically reading what you're writing. And I'm proud of you. Nobody tells you that this week. The Izzy is proud of you all. So's the Julie. But the Izzy is very, very fucking proud of every single last one of you. Okay, another bite. SP Stavros. She'd never forgotten those awkward years in grades 5 and 6 when she had spent time in the same class as Carson. Back then, he had been a little snot who would bluntly make comments. She had liked Josh much more. Not that the boy had known at the time. She hadn't said one word to him. She had only observed him from a distance. Yet somehow he left an impression on her enough to finding him on social media in her teens to ask if he remembered her. Awkward. Of course, Tay lied when she said he remembered her. Phoebe was not very memorable back then, at least in her opinion. Do you think it's possible to love someone and still be afraid of them? Phoebe hesitantly said to Carson from the other side of the corral. You can love Tempe all you want, but some time here, you got to get on her back to conquer that fear. Carson crawled as he leaned against the fence, his large tanned hands fidgeting with Temperance's rope, the veins leading under his cuff moving in a seductive pattern, distracting Phoebe from her fear and filling her with a different, more enticing feeling. He settled further onto the fence until her eyes were following the sleeve of his shirt to his broad shoulders that could hold legs and then trailed down to his denim jeans that fit snug enough that she could tell he was the way you flirt is downright shameful. A deep, rumbling chuckle came from Carson. He rested his chin against his propped up arm, then flashed her an amused gotcha grin. Phoebe's face grew warm under his gaze as she purposefully approached Temperance and attempted to climb on to avoid the obvious ogling she had done just a moment ago. The horse chuffed and then returned to the snack in the bucket, waiting for her on the fence pole. Phoebe put her foot in the stirrup, but when she couldn't get enough momentum to swing up, Carson came around. His large, warm hands encircled her waist, pausing for a moment as the two of them stood so close that if she so much as breathed too deeply, his snugly fit denim pants would be all she would feel pressed up against her ass. She gulped in a breath before he picked her up, and she was on Temperance's back, with Carson still all clothed and her core in terrible danger of a flood. After taking a moment in silence, Carson guided her through the proper way to sit on a horse's back, how to guide the horse forward and to the sides, then how to dismount once stopped. It had been very educational, but now there was a presence of awkward between them. He had become much hotter in the time since they last saw each other. You think you've got it all figured out, but you don't, Tay said, crossing her arms, startling the two. Trust me on that. Tay, when did you get in? Phoebe cracked a nervous grin. If there was one thing she remembered about Tay, it was she had first pick of guys, one of them being Carson. She insisted Carson was into her from the time they had met. Back then, she didn't see it, but Phoebe also hadn't seen just how problematic Tay had been as a person and a friend. Tay pushed her hair behind her shoulder. I guess you wouldn't know, City Slicker. I came back ages ago. Been living in town for about 2 to 3 years now. Tay moved to lean on the fence, but then walked around to the spot of the fence closest to Carson. Carson and I have become super close. Tay enunciated super slowly. Some have even said we look like a couple. Tay twisted a lock of her red hair around her finger. Carson's eyebrow rose. What people have said we look like a couple? I have told everyone I'm single. Carson folded his arms. Tay's perfectly pouty lips flapped spectacularly like a gaping fish as her fair skin turned as red as her flaming hair. Well, I mean, it's not like it's the worst thing in the world, she simpered. Except you're not my type, Tay. Phoebe watched in a bit of sick satisfaction as Tay's face twisted up like she ate a lemon. Then she turned around and stomped off towards the main house. Sorry about her. All I did was fix a flat for her, and suddenly she's all up in my case, Carson said as he rubbed his neck sheepishly. Not your responsibility, though I'm not surprised. She wasn't exactly an easy friend to have back in the day either. Boy, was she ever. Dun dun dun. Miss Ma'am. That's got some good bones. That's got, well, so does he. I mean,
That's what she said. Anyways, I think I'm developing my comedic timing there. And Stavros, that was really good. Like
Hello, darling.
your descriptions are getting better. Like people's descriptions. Um, sorry, I'm distracted by the content of the story.
Okay, let me fill in here for just a smidgy moment. Um, your descriptions are getting better. Your accolades are getting better. Um, the way you're stringing the story is getting better.
Yeah,
You're articulating it is more pronounced, and you're giving us everything that we need without over dramatizing it. Is that what? Good. Okay.
that's I think what I was trying to say was something along those lines. Sometimes I have a hard time saying that though.
I'm not usually one for romance. I want this book.
I agree. I'm
We
wanting
love you
to.
too, sweetheart.
So while Izzy's trying to eat,
Oh my God,
how's
I
everyone?
can't. When she hit that part, I'm like, no, she's not. No, no, she's not. Oh yes, she is.
She went there, and she went
I
there
started
beautifully.
so freaking hard. I started coughing. Oh my
And
God.
that's the thing. Stavros does tend to do romance, right? We've got Phoenix Child, right? It's right here. I have not read it yet, but it's right here in my bedroom. It's not out in the library. It is in my bedroom. Um, but we've also seen the continuation on here of that. And the way you're starting to write flirtation, oh honey, keep going. Don't stop. Oh. Okay. Next up, because we're going to keep this show on the road. You guys have given us so much, to work with this weekend. We want to make sure that everybody gets their time. And we're not keeping up people past their bedtime. And we would like to start rating out again and giving other Twitch users the love that they have given us and introduce us to new people. I get the alerts now with Jomsy. I really enjoy hearing them sing, play guitar, play the piano, read the books out. I'm getting the alerts, and if I've got nothing better to do, boom, I'm watching them do all the things. It's amazeballs. Okay. Yes. And that's what we can't wait. Bitzer says, I love that some of us went with the same bonus prompts, but went in entirely different directions. And that's kind of the point. That is brother hiding behind a fan? Is somebody all red in the face? Okay, well, all right. Next year, we're probably going to pull it down to where we are only voting for 3 each week, 1 from each of the categories. And so you will pick concept, starting first line, or dialogue tag. The ones that aren't picked, free to use. Add them in, use however you want to further your story. They will then be removed from the list anyway. And that way we're not coming up to the end of the year and going, reroll, reroll. So we absolutely loved. Yes, you did it without a single ding-a-ling mention, and that was beautiful. It's the illusion. What do most women actually love in their romance? The illusion, the romance, not play-by-play
Most of the time,
corn.
it is an illusion. Men talk big game, but most of the time, they say it's a, and it's a.
I mean, there we go. Okay, so next up is... Right. Bitzer, very good point. Aside from the ding-a-ling trying to flirt with an uninterested guy, yeah, she was definitely a ding-a-ling. All right, let me move some mice around here. Mises. Click, click, boom. Definitely.
I would say yes. I agree.
Yes,
Bonus point.
Stavros. Bonus points for flustering and making the Patrick hide. Look, you get visceral reactions from the Izzy. Okay, you get shocked face expressions from Kesh and Julie and raised eyebrows. And occasionally you get a Patrick face in your face. But if you can make Patrick flustered... It's like I said that one time, I never thought that a gay man would make me so hot and bothered. There we go. All right. Watch your microphone there, brother dear. She opened her eyes to white fluffy clouds and a bright blue sky. Peter, the cabin boy, as she was known on the ship, sat up. She looked around the beach where she lay, unsure of how she had ended up there. To her side was Maria, the captain's wife, but she could not see either of the woman's young daughters, Annie or Rosie. Peter stood, looking down at the encrusted sand on her soaked clothing. Even though she was thinking as hard as she couldn't quite recall what had brought the two of them there. Down on the other side of the lagoon, the ship was floating, ruling out its sinking. Where are they? Where are Annie and Rosie? Maria was distressed and confused, her voice raised. I don't know, mistress. The ship seems to be anchored up the cove. I would think there may be answers there. Perhaps the captain might be able to answer our questions. Peter responded as she took a few steps in the direction they needed to go. I'm not sure. There's something. Something doesn't feel right about that. But I think you're right that we need to go back to the ship. Maria stood up, trying to unsuccessfully brush the sand from her drenched petticoats. Wait, why were the four of us in the brig? Peter stopped, turning to look at the other woman. The mother paused, looking back, both of them feeling like there was something they should be remembering. I'm not sure I know, though I think I remember what you're talking about. Rosie and Annie were with us then. Maria's voice seemed to be off in some other place and time. Yes, the first mate. I remember him talking to all of us. But what he said, I don't think I could tell you. The cabin boy turned to look at the ship again. I'm surprised I don't see anyone keeping a lookout, especially with how close to land they are. That's not like the captain. Peter continued as she resumed her pace toward the end of the beach. Wait, I think something happened. Something very horrible. Maria's voice sounded almost haunted, as though whatever it was might be right on the edge of her mind. What do you think happened? Peter asked, stopping to look at her again, something lighting up in her own mind. Oh, she added as she looked out to sea. What is it? Do you remember something? Maria's dark hair whipped into her face as a wind came in from the ocean. The salt and grit in the air began to sting both of their eyes. Peter resumed, ignoring the pain of the grating sand hitting her in the face. They walked along the shore, the ship looming larger as they came closer to where it had run aground. The boat sat close to the shore, the bow having been stabbed by the sharp, jagged rocks running along the outcrop of land jutting into the ocean. Many of the crates that had been there for transport to the New World were scattered about the beach and in the water immediately around the vessel. She examined it for some signs of life, not sure if any were to be found. A loud splash drew their attention out to the water, the dark coils of a serpent disappearing just beyond the ship. The shadow of the creature swam just below the surface, spinning almost playfully in the relatively still waters of the small lagoon. Both Peter and Maria stood along the waterline, transfixed by the beast's playful energy. Foam from the crests of the tiny waves began to gather along the small beach, seeming to form at an alarming rate. The clumps began to gather, becoming larger and larger masses until they formed to become the size of a person. The bubbles slowly came toward the beach, splitting to allow the head of a woman to emerge from the shallows, her hair seeming to float around her as though she were still submerged. The strands framing her face allowed her luminescent eyes to show brightly, despite the sun being high in the sky. Oh, my children of the sea, tell me, what do you seek? Her voice sounded like a gentle ocean breeze. Maria looked at Peter and then back at the woman who was stepping from the waves of foam. I want to know where my girls are, came Maria's reply, the immediateness telling of her desperation. Your daughters. The woman seemed to have to think on what she was being asked. Ah, the two taken into the sea's embrace. She nodded, her hair moving around her, twisting and turning in time with the crests of the waves beneath her feet. Oceanus has been taking very good care of them for their sacrifices. You are of my children, and they are his. Separate destinies have been set, and now will be followed. She stepped from within her home foam enclosure and into the ankle-deep waters breaking the shore. Her hair gently came to her sides, clinging to her naked skin. The gill slits down the sides of her abdomen and under her jaw flexed and then closed as she took a deep breath of air, her lungs expelling any water still inside of them. The fluids trickled out through the bottommost of the openings, following the lines of her body as it flowed forth. You have only begun your transformation, my children. For once has finished, you will be a force of nature unto yourselves, a sight to behold for both sailor and land dweller alike. You are now of the sea. She took another step as she spoke. The massive serpent that had been playing in the shallows just beyond the breakers, slithering to her and around her feet. It no longer looked to be the massive creature they had watched before, but now looked to be a smallish sea snake that coiled itself around the goddess's leg. She lowered her arm to her side, allowing for the small creature to make its way up to her body, finally coming to rest across her shoulders. Transformation? I don't understand. Peter took a step forward, finding herself compelled to be close to the wonderfully mysterious being. How can you take a child's life? Why not take mine? The speed at which Maria took steps toward the woman was alarming, making Peter reach her arm out to grab her, preventing her from charging the powerful spirit between them. Neither of them would have physically been able to do what the two of you have accomplished. The desire for your revenge on the men of that vessel is what called me forth, and what tipped my hand when deciding to have the two of you join with me. The sea goddess reached out with her hand, touching Maria on the shoulder. Their eyes met, locking in a gaze that seemed to last an eternity. The mother's shoulders relaxed, whatever having gone on between the two seeming to calm her mind. Do you think it's possible to adore someone while still harboring ill feelings or fear for them? She asked as she stepped back, the spirit's ethereal presence starting to become overwhelming. I think in a case of a goddess like her, yeah, Peter answered, as the being focused her attentions on her. You, like her, are one of my chosen children. You will do great things in my name, for I am the goddess Tethys, and I am the keeper of the wronged dead among the waters. You will be one of my harbingers, a warning to all who would defy the will of myself and my king, Oceanus. The goddess's voice was a soft whisper in Peter's ear, although she had neither leaned in nor moved her lips. Why can't I remember what happened on the ship? She looked back at Tethys, hoping for an answer. Because you and the water folk part of you have not fully merged. Once the halves have become whole, then you will remember what you did. She then turned away, walking back toward the mass of sea foam that had brought her to the shore. As she stepped back in, the snake slithered off her shoulder and down her arms and leg, returning to the water. As it started swimming out into the deeper part of the lagoon, it grew in size as it went further away. Peter looked at Maria, who was watching as Tethys returned to the foam, disappearing back into the water as the bubbles gently fell apart and dissipated back into the incoming waves. Just when you think you've got everything figured out, but then you don't, Maria said, crossing her arms in front of her chest. I'll trust you on that, Peter replied as they looked over to the ship, eerily groaning in the gently rolling waves. Dun dun dun. Um, I just now read the general content warning that was involved in the fucking email. Says, no matter how innocuous I try to make my stuff, there's always something, so just be aware. Because this time it wasn't tentacles, no, it was a motherfucking water snake.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. You realize what that was, right?
I had a feeling when you decided mermaids that your mermaids who killed everybody on the ship were going to make a return appearance. I like the whole they don't remember what happened. Really kind of like that. Like it's then them rediscovering what they did. Ooh.
Julie just got it.
Wait, last week? Huh?
Not last week.
No. The
No, I said it was that story.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, why does this feel vaguely familiar? Why does this feel vaguely familiar? I'm like, could
Because
not fucking place it. Now I know. Okay.
finally got an idea how to kind of continue it a little bit. Thank you, CD.
Now, your dialogue's getting much better, right? With the whole trying to sound grandiose winds up muddying the waters, especially with German grammar and English grammar and etc. Still some spots in there where there's a shorter, better way of saying it, but your dialogue that's been really freaking getting in there and it gets the point across. Mm. How the fuck yeah. And I love Peter. I love Peter.
Yes, our little cabin boy returns.
I for those not aware, and I do believe it is in an old story available on YouTube. Don't quote me on that, but um, this particular character won't give her name. Doesn't matter. To her, it doesn't matter anymore. She's Peter. And I very much enjoyed the way that where the character explained herself on that. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm Peter. That's the easiest thing to do. Love it. So what I am hearing is I should continue to write at midnight. I mean, you could. Bitzer's off to work on bread. And next up is one PA Power.
No general warning, just you're gonna be some surprises.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Echoes beyond the storm. The storm didn't let up. It raged through the day and well into the night, slamming against the jungle dome. Sheets of rain and snow pelted the glass above, shaking it violently. Frost crept along the seams, glinting like shards of crystal, as though trying to trap them inside a fragile, icy coffin. Outside, the world was lost to wind, darkness, and swirling ice, but inside, the tiny keeper room hummed with the generator. The air was thick, heavy with the warmth of an alpha and the low, simmering pull of something primal beneath his skin. Michelle had fallen asleep in Darren's arms, the only thing barely keeping both him and his restless wolf in check. She was delicate, fragile, irreplaceable. Neither wanted to cause her fear, pain, or anxiety. Her cheek rested against his chest, fingers curling lightly into the fabric of his shirt, brushing his bare skin beneath. Every touch sent tiny ripples of electricity between them, sparking quietly in the spaces between breaths. Slowly, her tension melted like snow dissolving into water. Darren's gaze never left her face. His wolf remained suppressed, barely a whisper. "You're weak," it growled in the back of his mind, molten gold in fury. "You should have marked her, claimed her, kept her safe the way a real mate would. She should be with our pup by now." Darren's jaw tightened. "She wasn't ready. This is not up to you. She is our mate. Michelle is our equal, our Luna." Darren spit. Darren spit back with authority. "She is ours," the wolf hissed, pacing like a storm caged behind ribs of bone. "You let her slip through your fingers. Claim her, bite her, mark her, so no one dares touch what belongs to us." "I didn't," Darren murmured under his breath, brushing a damp strand of hair from her cheek. "I won't." Michelle shifted closer, nuzzling him. The wolf fell silent, watching her as fiercely as she settled deeper into them. "Look how she molds into us. She was made for us. She is our perfect mate," Darren whispered to his wolf. Then her fingers clenched, and a sharp breath hitched in her chest. Tremors ran like lightning beneath her skin. At first he thought she was cold, but the room was warm, nearly suffocating with their proximity. Trey. Darren froze. Her voice was fractured, terrified. Her body jerked violently, nails scraping his chest as if reaching for someone else. Where her nails scraped against his bare chest, long red welts started to form. "Sweetheart," he whispered, cradling the back of her neck. "Michelle, wake up." Her eyes flicked under her lids. Breaths came shallow, panicked. Then she cried out, "No!" Michelle stood in a clearing washed in blue moonlight, frost shimmering across every surface. Wind tore through the trees, carrying the faint metallic tang of iron. Snow glittered like broken crystals underfoot. "Trey?" she whispered, stepping deeper into the wonderland around her, the soft crunch of the virgin snow snapping below her feet, the only sound. From the shadows, a wolf burst forward, white fur streaked with silver and gray, matted with blood. He skidded across the frozen ground and collapsed. She reached for him, but her hands were thin like smoke. She could not touch him, could only watch, frozen in helplessness. Her eyes met his, and she could see the young brother from all those years ago. Light flared around him, blinding and consuming. His shape bent and shifted, breaking like glass. Michelle had grown used to the snapping sound of bones as the shifters changed around her. Only this time she could feel the pain of the change. She closed her eyes, trying not to feel the pain or see the change, until she heard a young man's voice, barely audible. "Shit, it's cold." Trey knelt naked in the snow, trembling, breath fogging in the frigid air. His hair, once brown, had turned platinum blonde, glowing beneath the pale light of the moon like spun silver. His eyes, purple, bright, fractured with power, locked on her. "Shelley." He clutched his shoulder, the crescent birthmark matching hers, glowing, bleeding. Pain radiated from him, a storm within a storm. Michelle choked on a sob. "I should be able to help. I should be able to... something." Her pulse surged. A strange heat prickled along her spine. Energy, subtle but undeniable, flickered beneath her skin. She swallowed, fear and awe mingling in a cocktail that left her trembling. Pinpricks danced along her birthmark as it glowed in response to his. Trey, Trey, I'm here. He lifted his head and screamed. Michelle, where are you? The sound hit her like a physical blow. She stumbled back, chest twisting, soul fracturing. Trey, I can't reach you. Tell me where you are. Her breaths came labored. It was not until she heard a voice slicing through the clearing, sharp and sickly sweet and menacingly dark. I found you. Well, I found one of the Gemini twins. The other must be near. The sound of that voice churned her stomach and sent a cold shiver down her spine. A shadow stepped forward, rippling like smoke, featureless but with eyes burning like twin embers. Once I rid this world of you, it hissed, I'll find her next. Destroy her before her power awakens. I will claim your powers and I will become the Alpha King. Don't look at me like that, Trey. Had you and your worthless sister just accepted your fate when I sent the rogues, well, you wouldn't be suffering now. It could have been over years ago, but I promise you, I can make both of your deaths quick. Oh, I bet you wouldn't even grant me a painless death, right? I never promised anything about painless. You must pay the price of making me wait for my power, the voice hissed in anger. The words sent a shiver through Michelle, not just fear, but something else, a pulse of recognition, a spark of power responding to Trey's agony. Trey surged upright, shifting between wolf and human in a flash of pure light. Chaos erupted, roars, snarls, snapping of jaws and bone. The shadow retreated, but not fast enough. Trey's glowing claws shredded the edge of darkness into ash. A shrill scream filled the air like nails on a chalkboard. You cannot hide her forever. I will find her before the cycle completes. The shadow dissolved. Trey, shifting back into a human, he began reaching blindly. Michelle, please. Michelle knelt in front of Trey, her head down, her voice a wisp of what it once was. Trey, come home. Cold droplets hit her face and rolled down. Michelle instinctively reached out to wipe the tears, only they were not hers but Trey's. The vision shattered in blinding shards of blues, whites, purple. Michelle convulsed against Darren, cold sweat soaking her hair. Darren's hands were instinctive, cradling her head, locking her to him, holding her through the tremors. Trey, no, don't. Trey! Her pain ripped through him, twisting his wolf inside. With each wail and outcry of pain, the more Darren let his tears fall, feeling every word, every emotion rip through his mate and right back into his very chest. The vision is too deep, it warned. Our bond is pulling theirs awake, too fast, too violent. She cannot survive this burden. Anchor her. Let her draw strength from us. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Darren pressed his forehead to hers. Michelle, come back to me, he whispered. Thunder cracked. Her body jerked with each strike. He wrapped himself around her, grounding her as if the storm had entered her veins. I've got you, he murmured. You're not alone. Come back to me. Golden eyes bled through his own. Claim her. Anchor her. Now. Shelley, he breathed into her ear. Come back. I'm here. I'm right here. Her fingers unclenched, curling around his wrist like a lifeline, eyes flying open with a sob. Darren, I'm here, he said fiercely, pulling her tight. I won't let go. Trey, she gasped. He's alive. He's hurt. Someone's after him. And they said they'd come for me. Darren froze. His wolf did not hesitate. We find him. We save him. No one touches our mate's blood. He kissed the crown of her head, inhaled her scent, and vowed, We will find him before anything touches you or him. You think you've got it You think you've got everything figured out, but you don't, Michelle snapped, crossing her arms. Trust me, you can't just stroll into my life, make me feel all these things, and then act like you get to fix everything. Darren softened. I trust us. As long as we stand together, nothing can stop us. We are fated mates. Your problems are ours. Michelle huffed, half laughing. You bring me to a zoo. I see a unicorn, and then you tell me it's not real. What's next? Mermen? If mermen existed, I'd tell you. But if they do, well, no merman touches my mate, he murmured, lips twitching. You keep saying that, she whispered. Mate. Michelle paused. All these things I don't understand. But you won't tell me what you seem to be protecting me from. I'm trying, he said. You have no idea how much I want to give you everything. But once I do, there's no going back. She leaned closer. Darren, I wasn't planning on going back anyway. He brushed a strand of hair from her cheek, fingers lingering. You don't know what you're saying yes to. Then show me. Stop deciding for me, she whispered into his palm. Gold flickered. Breath hitched. There are creatures in this world that make unicorns look harmless, he murmured. So they do exist. Her eyes narrowed. Many beasts and creatures exist in this world if you know where to look. Darren bit his bottom lip, trying to read her expression. And you think I'm scared? She whispered back. I'm scared for you, he admitted. I am scared to be wrong. Her pulse raced. Then don't be wrong. Trust me the way I want to trust you. His breath hitched. Tomorrow, at moonrise, I'll tell you everything. The elders can be damned. Michelle's pulse fluttered. Promise? He exhaled against her skin. I swear it on the moon goddess. You are my fated mate, and I will not lie to you. Darren reached up, fingers threading gently through her damp hair. The strands fell soft under his touch, warm and alive, and for a moment it was just them, the storm outside forgotten, the world narrowed to the rise and fall of her breath and the steady beat of her heart beneath his palm. As he combed his hands through her hair, one lock shimmered in a strange, ethereal light. His fingers curled around her hair and found a ribbon of silver hair streaking through hers. From root to tip, it turned platinum, like moonlight trapped in silk. Darren froze, a low, startled growl rumbling in his chest. Not his wolf, not yet, but something deeper, something human. Michelle's eyes fluttered open, startled, and in that instant they flickered violet, bright, molten, almost like fire captured in glass. The color pulsed, subtle at first, then stronger, as if her very essence was stirring to life beneath his touch. Darren's breath caught. He traced the strand between his fingers, careful not to break the fragile magic, and whispered, Shelley, do you see this? She blinked, awareness dawning slowly, fear and wonder mingling in her gaze. I don't know, she murmured, voice trembling, half in awe, half in disbelief. You do, he said, voice low and reverent. It's you. All of you. And it's beautiful, powerful. His lips brushed her temple, lingering as his thumb stroked a trembling strand of platinum. You're awakening, Shelley. And I get to see it. A shiver ran through her, the thrill of power mingling with the warmth of his hands. She felt it before she understood it, the pull of something ancient, something inside her that was finally answering, reacting, growing. Her pulse quickened, and her fingers clenched instinctively in his shirt. Darren held her tighter, anchoring her, grounding her, even as a part of him wanted to marvel at this transformation, to trace every inch of this awakening with awe and care. Whatever comes, he whispered, I'm here. I won't let go. Not of you, not of this. The storm outside roared, but in the tiny keeper room, there was only the quiet hum of possibility, the first flicker of her power, reflected in violet eyes and strands of moonlit hair, and the unshakable bond of two mates standing at the edge of something unstoppable. Dun, dun,
Bum
dun.
bum bum.
There
Emotional
was a bit of a
damage.
jump in when she comes out of the vision and then she goes into petulance and they do a little bit of teasing and then that was a little jarring, but other than that, holy fuck.
Yeah, I was trying to flush that scene out, but I was running out of time.
Good, good. I holy, holy, ho-
Um, if you can't talk, sis, type it.
n- I, I,
No, I'm talking to Julie because she's giving me that eye.
I yeah, that.
Agreed.
Well, I'm trying to move the story along. It's not just about their mate bond. They have to find the other Gemini twin.
I
We knew
mean,
they were
yeah.
Gemini twins.
Yeah. No, I mean, there is that, and that's I think the problem that I have historically found with reading Shifter up until meeting all y'all, was the fact that the whole point was just get the girl, fuck the girl, keep the girl, and that's the end of it, right? But you guys are actually doing like other subplots that actually move it forward, something that like
Makes it more than just slam bam, thank you, ma'am.
bingo. And yes, every romance book that I have ever read, right? Boy meets girl, they fall for
Boy.
each other, and then something like breaks them apart or threatens their relationship, etc., and eventually they get together. Okay, you've got different beats in between there and everything else, but usually especially in the contemporary ones, right? You've always got billionaire. Okay, you got biker. You've got all these different things where it's normal and mundane shit that comes between them. Somebody's got money, somebody doesn't. Somebody's, pretending to be somebody that they're not. But all in blah, the same old tired story ways. And you guys don't do that. No, we got to have, way more intricate side things, which is what makes it interesting. We know at the end of the day, person A, person B are going to be together at the end. But how do we get from point A to point B? That's the interesting part. Beautiful. Oh man. See, and I feel like too, Gemini twins should mean something, but at the same time, because we don't know the lore from behind that yet, which may be in some of the chapters that we are now missing, right? That's where it's also drawing back and going, so what's the big fucking deal? This is a big fucking deal. Now we got shadow being trying to steal their power and being alpha king, right? You like what? Oh, okay. What is so special about the Gemini twin power thing and the whole dark hair turning platinum? Like something else is going on, and I need to fucking know. Be right back.
So,
I like where your story is going. I'm not big on romance, so I've
well,
dabbled with it. But
this is kind of, yes, it's a shifter romantic thing,
hmm
but the love story is not the main story.
yes, I would read a shifter thing like this where it's not the main story. So yeah,
Yeah. But in order to get to the story, I have to build up Darren and Michelle in
yeah,
order for you guys to see the motivation of why they come together so perfectly and work so harmoniously while they go to find her brother and what
gotcha.
happens when you get the children of the moon goddess together.
Should be interesting.
Hmm.
So do we want to do like a quick bathroom break or something for everyone since we're waiting on Izzy? Uh, Everyone go get yourself some snacks, go to the bathroom. I think we got a little bit longer and we'll be good.
Yes, very much bathroom break. I had a near emergency, so we will be back momentarily.
I keep getting dropped on the stream. I am so sorry, everyone. How's everyone's night going? I I forgot to put my headpiece in. Did anyone hear me? Probably not. So how's everyone's night going? We're enjoying everything? Well, I think we're enjoying everything just from the comments. Going okay? Writing today's daily tale. Ooh, and bread. Yes, yes. That bread looked delicious that you posted up in Discord. Wish I could have it.
Sorry,
We're a little
tired.
far away. Yeah. Yeah, it's always trying to beat the kids. I always like have my taster piece whenever I cook so that I can get some. So, do do you know if we're at one more story for the night, right? I think.
Yeah, I think we have one more left. And then we're done.
Okay.
And then we roll.
And then we
And then we
roll for the
torture.
night.
And then we torture how I'm going to do this next couple chapters.
Yeah.
All the while I'm trying to focus on doing my development edits on Heart of Stone so I can try to get that out by early
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah, I need to buckle down and finish the prologue for mine and start doing the editing because I'd like to get it out reasonably soon and have something.
Yeah.
But it's there's a lot I gotta develop still, I think too.
Yeah, I've got it printed out and I've only got the prologue done on
Yeah.
first round of edits on development. Found a few things I need to fix on it. 8.5 by 11, and it's 151 pages.
Wow. Eh. We all kind of come up with our own systems as far as like editing and writing, and it's so fascinating to talk like exchange that with each other.
I like the old fashioned when I go through to do some editing this way, because then
Yeah.
it's like I see it differently than I do on the computer screen.
Oh, Izzy. Hopefully it's not too bad. Um, what I've started doing is I write a draft and then I create a new file and I start over basically, and then I export it. And I've been like making like an ebook of each chapter, and then I rewrite it. And I'm finding that works well for me. It's always different.
Yeah. I don't think I will have Heart of Stone out for Flirty and Casey.
Oh,
I'm hoping I can, so that way I
hmm
can also have it when I go to Sinful in March. Hey, Leon.
there's Leon. I think just in time. I think his story is the one next.
Maybe.
I remember. I can't remember whose story is next off the top of my head, but I think that's what. Oh, Julie just confirmed it. Yeah, but you haven't missed the role yet. So that's most probably one of the more important parts, I think, because then we get the important part for next week.
Exactly. I just got done putting the logo labels on my 4 tablecloths that I have.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one like you were showing us the other day on Discord, right?
Yeah.
Because that looks really nice. Oh, there's Julie. You found the dice, or is this a different one?
I just broke out the 100 tonight.
It works.
So, magic ball in my hand. Where are we going to end up for
Yeah,
the beginning of December and the beginning of the last 4 weeks, leading up to bump, 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 the actual anniversary show?
which is
I realize we're going to be leading up to the anniversary show.
you okay, Z?
I'm good. I'm just glad that happened now before I read Leon's and have different tummy grumblings. Oh,
He just showed up too.
I know. I had my headphones on. I could hear everything.
I didn't know if you had your headphones on.
I know. I normally keep them on so I can, that whole fear of missing out. So I know what's happening. All
I
right.
think it's Patrick is echoing.
Yes.
All right. Nope, wrong mouse.
Okay. So, last but not least for this evening is one Leon Nagol. And then we have announcements about December and rolling for the prompt. All right. I don't know if this is a threat or intended as hello, here is my weekly submission. Regards, Leon. Why does that seem threatening to me? Oh my, okay. Got my eyes on you, Leon. Mermaids, lonely hearts of the sea. 1. The night was there already, those darker than usual nights where trees cast their shadows in darker shades of black. The detective was driving, and I was sat behind on those old rusty orange skis they had in old cars like this one, and I was watching him driving. The detective didn't make any secrets about having my continual presence around him. I was a nuisance to him, but I didn't care. My eyes were swollen. I could feel them falling into the moodiness of my pale visage, like the moon sometimes seems to drown on the Great Lakes. But I had finished crying. There was no more tears to give to the sad destiny that brought me into this living nightmare. Feeling all right back there? Said the lout. Would you care if I didn't? I replied in an abrasive way. Oh, come on. Can you quit being like that, kid? My job here is literally to help you. What do you want from me? I pouted for a second. He wasn't wrong. What I wanted, he couldn't give me. My family wouldn't come back. My family. Did I still have a family? I had my grandmother in shambles for losing the love of her life, and that was it. She lost her son, too, my father, the same day. Her past and her future were gone, just like if her existence in this life had meant nothing. She had me. We had each other and nobody else. I couldn't be there for her. I didn't have the strength for it. The detective was doing his job, a very insensitive job, of trying to understand what had happened that day. The triple murder scene didn't have any answers for him, and I couldn't understand any of it myself either. The cafe was an ordinary cafe up to that point, a place where bad romance stories started and where old people come to get someone to talk to, where drunks talk about sports and drink beers, where people have tabs and the barman is forced to accept that because he knows full well one non paying customer talking all day means two or three paying customers joining him. The city lights were dancing on the window in some quiet movement that almost seemed happy. The city lights, or the city doesn't care when something happens. Its fauna of neon lights and car motors, noises would still be doing what they do, no matter what, and it had some comfort for me. My soul was bleeding, and I could sense myself losing my innocence and transforming. I was a little girl not so long ago. I had laughters and dreams about the most insignificant things. I was in a bubble, surrounded with love and care. Oh, sure, I had a few tragedies, but not any of it had managed to pierce my quiet and protective membrane. I was a little bird whose shell had been forced, and I was exiting it and becoming something that would be dangerous, a bird of prey, and my vision would be able to reach further than anyone else. And for that, I needed to find someone that would teach me. 2. Izzy opened the door. I could see her eyes scanning me, trying to understand how I was to know what to tell me. I wasn't in a talking mood, and I just paced inside her apartment like it was mine, because I knew she wouldn't mind. Izzy and I had been friends for as long as I can remember. I was a little ugly duck in preschool, too shy to talk to anyone, and that big blonde thing found me there and started talking to me, and we never stopped till then. We had a few moments where we went from being sisters to being lovers, but it wasn't really our thing. She knew me like no one else. It was the one person closest to me in the entire world. So when she heard what happened, she found me right away and took me under her wing. She was a mama bird for a long time to me. After I lost my own blood mother to sickness, Izzy was always very protective and very much the opposite of myself, always yelling and memeing around, being rude to people to make me laugh, being an asshat for the kick of it. I loved her to death, and she the same. What happened? Did you find the English guys at the airport? She said to the detective, still at the door, waiting some acknowledgement of some sort. Yes, we did, but they wanted to get some rest at their hotel, he replied with a voice barely hiding his tiredness from what he probably considered babysitting. Okay, Batman, what's next? You do understand I don't have to tell you shit, right? Tell yourself that. So what's next? I'll be back tomorrow morning around 8 to get Sydney back. Now, good night, he said, and didn't wait for an answer and started walking away. Okay, Bruce, say hi to the Joker for me, all right? Izzy closed the door and came to sit next to me on the sofa. How did they look, the English guys? She said in a softer voice, watching me. I don't know. They look English, so far. There's one quite tall and thin. He has very observant eyes and doesn't blink a lot. He's very careful in his choice of words, and you can tell he's understanding more things than the average. And the other is a bulky guy that seemed to not want to be here at all. I don't know what he does, but he's the kind of person that doesn't look like he could take too much bullshit from anyone without getting angry. You think they will be able to help? I don't know. It's not like we have any other choices, anyways, don't we? I know, poor baby, she said as she rested her forehead against my temple and held me by the shoulders with both her arms. I won't cry, Izzy. I'm done with that, I replied in a voice that was meant to settle the discussion, but was also non confrontational. We spent a few moments like this, and we eventually would get to bed just as we were and try to get some dreamless sleep. I wasn't sure I could anymore get some rest, but laying on the back at the very least gave my body an opportunity to prove myself it was still capable of it. 4. I woke up on the floor. I wasn't sure I really lost consciousness, but it felt like I was out of my own body for a while, watching myself freeze with my eyes open, fixing the ceiling. What did happen? We had him tied. He was there, but in an instant he wasn't. And then he threw the both of us against the walls like if we were toys and weighing less than the loud air of his dark hold he called home. I remember now. He had a knife, a bread knife, against my throat, and he was above me, watching me right in the eyes, and he told me Izzy was alive or something. And then what? I cannot remember. And he left. I tried to get up, but my shoulder was hurting badly. I think my shoulder got out of its socket or something. It was hurting in a way that I had never known before. I turned my head and saw Izzy on my left. She was still out. Izzy! I said in a scream attempt that fell short because I couldn't get enough breath. Izzy! I forced myself to scream louder, and I saw her move her head and mumble something. She might have been hurt, but she was alive. That bastard didn't lie. I heard a noise, someone opening the door. Was it the killer coming back? We would be helpless if he was gone to get some murder tools or something. But I was relieved when I recognized my favorite two Englishmen, even if they appeared to be very mad at us. They were talking to me, but I realized I couldn't really hear them. I had a strident whistle in my head that made it impossible to understand anything, and I could hear myself, my heart beating, and that loud noise from the inside, like an entire industry of machines that are making my body work the way they are. For a second, I was amazed at the realization of all this wonderful biological thing that makes me me. But as Edgard was helping me to sit and the blood flow changed, I could feel my head clearing a bit, and I started to understand. What the bloody hell are you girls doing here, and what in the seven blue heavens happened? Jasper said in his very raspy voice as he was looking after Izzy. We had him, I said. I felt very tired all of a sudden. My strength was leaving me, and I felt myself falling. An angel was watching me. His light was great and warm. I could sense him through the wall, calling me, but he had no voice. It was a thought, and it smelled of fresh flowers and grass in the morning, like when I was a young girl and my parents would take me to the park. The sounds felt peaceful around me, and I smiled for a moment. Is that how life concludes? Am I going anywhere? Is my body failing me? No, it is not, Edgard said, and I saw him above me. What had just happened? Am I talking or am I thinking? You are talking, Sydney. You probably have a concussion, but you are fine. We will take you to a hospital. Do you think it's possible to love someone and still be afraid of them? I said, without thinking. But I was thinking about him, about the monster, and I didn't know why. Don't talk, Sydney. Don't be afraid. You are in good hands now, he said. Or so I thought. I didn't remember much of the next few hours. 3. I woke up on the bed. It would seem I was able to get some rest finally. I felt much better than I was the day before. This is something to do with grief. You defeat grief. You can ignore it, but it's a monster that will show it to you when you least expect it. You can think about him all the time, and he's going to turn your life into something that will be as still as a mountain, slowly passing the years and seasons without changing, enduring everything but doing nothing. Or you can get angry about it. My newfound energy was entirely directed that way. I woke up Izzy. She didn't have enough sleep, but reminding herself about the situation, she forced herself to wake up, and she went to prepare some much needed coffee nectar of the gods. I'm sure Odin, Thor, and Loki need to drink theirs too in the morning. The day cannot start The day cannot start without a strong black coffee, the European way. Just two sips, but containing so much energy it seems like it's exclusively made of it. It was just 7 a.m., so I still had some time before the detective arrived. After drinking the coffee, I jumped in the shower and prepared myself to have a busy day. Got some makeup on and borrowed some of Izzy's clothes that are a bit too large and big for me, but will have to do. And I found Izzy in the living room watching a mermaid cartoon, which actually got me laughing a bit. What? I've always been a kid. Just let me finish my cartoon and I'll get ready, she said with an air that made her look like an actual kid. Not judging. You can watch mermaid cartoons all you want, I said with a smile. I can see what you think, girl. Don't forget I know you. Yes, well, maybe I'll watch with you, I said, surprising myself, allowing me to have something normal. Oh, but you won't understand. Wait, let me explain it to you. It's a cartoon, Izzy. I'll be fine. Okay, but if you don't understand, you can ask me, okay? And we stayed like that for a few minutes, watching the cartoons. It was good to be doing something else. The cartoon wasn't that bad. It was the story of evil men being punished by mermaids for their crimes, and the mermaids would pass themselves for humans to trick the men into coming swimming with them, and they would eventually drown underwater where the mermaids had every advantage. A little after 8, the detective arrived, and I would force him to accept Izzy with me as a moral support for the day. Done, done, done.
That's where it stops.
I think quite a bit got lost in translation, but I'm not sure how I feel about the besmirching of my name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was following that. I was like, "Ooh, is he gonna get him?"
I, your Izzy is freaking bipolar, man. All right? Like, I'm
Paper.
I mean the characterization is not wrong, but still.
It was a little hard to follow because I both like how he does it out of context, but or out of order, but also it gets a little confusing sometimes. But
Now,
it's really good still.
the
So,
the the bouncing around, right? 1, 2, 4, 3. This has been a pattern that Leon has done this entire time.
oh yeah,
That
I know.
that part, I really enjoy it because you get this future thing and then you bounce back and you're seeing things and you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then you bounce back and you get the missing pieces, right? It's like this constant bit of flashback and flash forward. And because there's the numbers in there, for me, I can watch it. What I think I have a little bit of a trouble following is within those numbered sections some of the thought processes of the characters bounce around a lot, and that's something that is a learned thing. You're trying to get everything out, but again, we're constantly saying these are rough drafts. You literally have a week to write it, and still, I kind of can't wait to see where this is all going. Like we've got, and bouncing around and seeing where, the killer is mentally, the detective is. Now we've got Sydney, the granddaughter, who with her best pal Izzy that she used to sleep with, going and trying to take down the killer themselves, but they're just teen girls, or young adult women, and so it's like what is possessing them to go after someone who just murdered all those people? Like, what possesses a young adult to do that and actually get the guy, like they were not prepared. They were not prepared at all, which is actually accurate,
Yeah,
you know? So it's like, I, I mean, yeah, okay, non-linear is fun. You make your audience piece things together, Bitzer, Um, it is fun if you can do it effectively, right? And I write non-linearly, but then I piece it together into linear fashion. So sometimes I have to go back and adjust things, um, mostly because, like, I wrote this, which was way after this other thing, or I wrote this, which actually happens way before this thing, and this winds up being better or reveals more information that I need to go back and change. Um, And I could leave them out of order. I'm not going to because no, I have a hard enough time keeping it all straight in order. But yeah, if it's done right, it definitely is a powerful suspense tool. Absolutely. So, thank you, Leon, for more information into your serial killer world that is scaring the ever loving bejesus out of absolutely everybody. So that's where we're ending the readouts tonight. We do have 5 tomorrow, including Artemis Elf, Anonymous 5, Julie, Dahlia, and Anonymous 4, who has chosen a name. So we will have that name reveal tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Adjust your times accordingly. So that will be November 30th, which means we are into December. So that's where we've got our next monthly theme. Okay. Next month's theme is called Solstice Scribes. All right. Because it is the winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. It is the summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. We all celebrate Christmas or Yule or, whatever kind of start of winter, start of summer uh, festivities, right? So, what we're looking for, okay, remember how in October we said work on your B stories, work on those subplots to make your A story that much richer? Well, now we're going to do a little bit of world building, right? Every culture has festivals, holidays, various different things that make the culture tick. And so, one of those things that you can do with your story is to put your characters into festivity type things, which helps flesh out your world. So, we want to challenge you for the next 4 weeks to write your characters in some form of cultural, religious uh, celebration of some kind, whether that be Christmas, Yule, um, some kind of summer solstice thing, religious, political. I mean, in America, we've got the 4th of July. Oh, yay. Um, so any kind of holiday, festivity, or whatnot, you are the scribes, and we're celebrating the solstice by building our world's culture. And with that,
Yes,
rolling,
like a
rolling, rolling.
cult.
Oh dear God, I forgot about the cotton candy cult. I forgot about the cotton candy cult.
I was
Woo!
about to say culture, not cult.
I mean, culture is cult is the base of culture.
It really kind of is. I'm sorry, Julie, but
We are not
technically, Dahlia.
Dahlia. We encourage the Dahlia. We do not encourage the Dahlia.
I will encourage the Dahlia.
On this, I'm sorry, but I might also have to encourage the Dahlia because this is. I mean, technically, it is a religious thing, not the kind that any of us want to get involved in. But I mean, sorry, boss, but
The cotton candy cult.
Yes, the cotton candy cult.
maybe we get more as to why they were all gathered around in this ceremony and starting to eat the other cotton candy people. I
You have cannibalism of a cotton candy cult.
I'm aware. I'm
Anywho,
aware.
are you ready? I'm ready. Here we go.
I'm opening the active thread, getting a pen. Oh my, oh my Lanta. I might get unalived later. Just FYI, if y'all don't see me tomorrow,
It won't be me.
It won't be me. I'm 7.5 hours away.
Yeah, no, the snow's too thick outside. They haven't plowed our street.
I'm not driving in that shit. Why do you think I'm 7.5 hours away? Look, there's a reason I live in the South. Yes, we deal with snow very rarely, and I think it's funny as fuck when people are like, "It's snowing," and I'm sitting there like, "And it's Tuesday." Like, I'm like, "We're not
okay,
done."
roll.
I did.
What's
10.
the number? 10. No, it's not.
Okay. 47.
Mm, scared.
Scared
I'm
like really
scared.
scared, just scared.
I'm just scared.
Okay.
Concept. In a society where everyone wears an identity mask, one person removes theirs in public for the first time, revealing their true self.
Oh shit, that's got Dahlia written all over it.
Mhm.
Ooh, I can't wait to see what she does.
Roll
Next.
19.
119. Concept. A character discovers a hidden door in their house that leads to a room they've never seen before. What's inside?
I think we've done that one before.
Not exactly that one.
But there was one like it.
Very similar. But that was before, I think, before we came over to Twitch. So,
Okay.
oh, Jesus. Starting first line. What's our first roll?
100.
Nope, reroll.
Try that again. 95. Unfortunately, the dice is going to be very insistent. It's either going to be 100 or 95.
He pressed his palm against the door and felt it breathe.
Okay. Felt the door breathe? Okay. 82.
182. Starting first line. She received the unsigned letter on her birthday.
Okay.
Oh.
53.
53. Dialogue. I know you're trying your damnedest to be tough, but the truth is, you're terrified.
Okay. 87.
187. Dialogue. Stop trying to figure everything out. Just focus on now.
Oh.
All right.
Don't know how to
Here
feel
we
about that.
go. I don't know either. Now, it doesn't look like we've got anybody over on the YouTube side except for me and Julie
Yeah.
watching over there. So, Here we go. Over in the side chat, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 for you to read and decide what you want to vote for. Remember that starting next week, we've got, write your characters in some kind of cultural, political, religious festival or whatnot, building out your world. And our situations here are: 1, concept. In a society where everyone wears an identity mask, one person removes theirs in public for the first time, revealing their true self. Number 2, concept. A character discovers a hidden door in their house that leads to a room they've never seen before. What's inside? Number 3, starting first line. He pressed his palm against the door and felt it breathe. Number 4, starting first line. She received the unsigned letter on her birthday. Number 5, use this dialogue. I know you're trying your damnedest to be tough, but the truth is you're terrified. Number 6, dialogue. Stop trying to figure everything out. Just focus on now. Okay. Cotton candy 5. 6, 6, 5, 6, 4, 5, 5. Not as far as like what Kesh was doing about using a to answer Leon's question in the chat. Not for like use this character type in your submission, but yes, some kind of, whatever your religious things that are happening in your world, right? So if your world celebrates Christmas, your world celebrates Yule, your world celebrates some kind of sun festival, or any kind of thing, or maybe it's a political thing like Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Bastille Day, and any kind of thing that gets some kind of celebration. Write your characters interacting with something related. Make something up. Build out your world. How do we have 5? No, 5 does not have 4. Delia put cotton candy 5 and 5.
Okay, Bitzer voted for 5. Patrick voted for 5. You voted for 5.
Wait,
And
Bitzer voted for 5? Did I miss?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Oh, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to
brother
write
was
down
right.
Dahlia's.
Love you, sis.
I thought Dahlia's 2 just canceled each other out.
You hope.
You also voted for 5, so it did.
So Julie needs to vote.
Yep, Julie needs to vote.
Actually, Joe doesn't need to vote because 5 wins.
No, because if you vote for 6, that's a tie, and then we'll have to come up with a resolution.
Who else we got? Anybody else we got in the chat?
We got any lurkers?
Discord says there's 10 people here.
Yeah, it's showing us 10. But
I see that Stavros and Shay.
Stavros voted for 6.
Stavros voted for 6. Okay, so Trisha, Leon, Patrick, Stavros. Yes, she did. Okay, there's that. There's that. So who am I missing? Yep, Stavros, you did vote. My apologies.
There's
I'm
8
looking
votes.
over at
There's 9. We just got one missing person that's hovering.
Shay and Julie. Shay and Julie.
Mm. Actually, this is a hard one for me. It's like, well, my gut instinct tells me to go for fucking 6. 5 just fucking. Yeah. The only problem is both of these fit in the same damn scene for me, so it's like.
So which one do you definitely want to use?
Definitely I want to use 6. But that.
All right.
At least
So yes, you can use both. You can use both. So it does look like, and Shay might have fallen asleep. Poison Girl may have fallen asleep, which is completely fine. Working herself to the bone over there. So that means we've got a tie for 5 and 6, which, Julie's like, oh, I can use both of them. So I'm going to overrule her sicky brain, and I'm going to say use either one. Use either one. Use both. What the frick ever. We're doing a dialogue prompt this next week, and there you have it. So don't forget to come back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Adjust your times accordingly. We will finish them off. Hopefully, everybody's got theirs in and no more technical difficulties, because that was a thing. So hopefully, Julie's a little bit better and she's taking her medicine that we all bought for her. We had
actually
to
run
get
out of medicine, and I have to go and get more medicine tomorrow. I ran out right before the show. I took the last dose right before the show.
Nope, she's over here. She's over here. So, thanks to you guys following with Prime and various other things, we did get a payout. And because our fearless leader is as sick as she is, I made the executive decision to send her some of those funds so that she could go get some medicine before hubby's payday. And yeah, so we got to keep the fearless leader in good health. So she's going to go and get more. Right, Julie?
Yeah, no, I'm going first thing in the morning. I thought I had more in the bottle than I did.
It's fine. It's fine. Any other wrap up kind of thing that we got to do? I think we've hit December. We've done pretty good. I mean, our stream is what 3 hours tonight, and we stayed on track. We didn't squirrel too bad.
We did have breaks.
Yep.
I also didn't write an expansive missive.
Right, that's true. Kesh kept herself under control. We're also going to discuss in our moderator channels that most of you can't see, sorry, but when you got a leadership team, you got a leadership team. we're going to discuss some of those things that we may look at for next year. And so keep an eye out in the general and other
In the newsletter. Don't forget the newsletter.
In the newsletter. Don't forget to do the newsletter, but literally the talking of like how we want to approach next year, because we wouldn't be here if it were not for y'all. And therefore, we believe that you should have a say, a voice in how we continue and move forward. We are the facilitators, we're the leadership team, but at the same time, if you don't like the trajectory that we are going, you stop writing, we stop having content. So this is, including you, is our selfish way of continually doing what we got to do. So,
And on top of that, if people don't like the trajectory of a show, they just stop watching. It's not even just they stop participating, they stop watching.
yep. We ain't trying to jump the shark here.
Yeah, no, we're good.
All right. So tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Come join us. Leon asked who is up next tomorrow. Let me pull that up here real stinking quick. Up tomorrow is Artemis Elf, Anonymous 5, Dahlia, and the formerly known as Anonymous 4, who will be revealing their chosen pen name tomorrow.
And then me.
Oh, yeah. Yours isn't in there yet. Sorry. Yeah.
But I'm super proud of all of us. We made it. We're 4 weeks off of making it another year. And when we started this, it some nights it was just me and Patrick, like shooting the shit over books because nobody was there. And then we slowly started growing. And now look, we're right now streaming on 2 different freaking platforms and getting ready for the last month of the year. I couldn't be more proud. And I can't wait to see what this group grows into for the next year. We've met a lot of interesting people and people we would have never met had we not done and made the decisions we made. That's just the way that goes. But we're going to go ahead and get out of here tonight because we're like 2 minutes to 10 my time. So remember, don't add to the population. Don't subtract from the population. Call Izzy if you need bail money. I'm too sick to deal with this shit. And we'll see you again tomorrow night. Same bad time, same bad channel. Bye.
Bye.